Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. The Trump administration says it used about $5.6 billion in munitions during the first 2 days of strikes against Iran. The revelations were made in a report sent to US congressional committees. Lawmakers have voiced concern the conflict could quickly drain US military stockpiles. The White House has not publicly detailed the full cost of the war launched with Israel late last month. However, some officials expect the administration to soon ask Congress for tens of billions of dollars in additional funding. The United States and Israel have reportedly launched their most intense airstrikes yet on Iran, with US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying the latest wave included more fighters, bombers, and refined intelligence than before. Residents in Tehran also described last night as the war's most intense one in terms of bombardment. Despite the escalation, global markets are betting President Donald Trump may soon end the conflict. At least 486 people have been killed and 1,313 others injured in Lebanon as Israeli strikes intensify during the wider Middle East conflict. The World Health Organization says nearly 1/5 of those killed or injured are children. Also, the UN Refugee Agency said more than 667,000 people have been displaced across Lebanon, including about 100,000 people who fled their homes in just one day after Israeli evacuation orders in southern Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs. US President Donald Trump has told Fox News that it's possible he would be willing to talk with Iran, but that it depends on the terms. Asked in an interview about the possibility of negotiations with Tehran, Trump told Fox he heard Tehran wanted to talk badly. The Republican president also reiterated his unhappiness with Iran's new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, telling Fox he didn't believe he can live in peace. US President Donald Trump and Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have discussed Monday the war in Iran and prospects for peace in Ukraine, just hours after the Kremlin chief warned that a global energy crisis threatened the world economy. The Kremlin said Trump called Putin and they discussed Russian ideas for a speedy end to the conflict in Iran, the military situation in Ukraine, and the impact of Venezuela on the global oil market. Trump told a press conference that he had a very good call with President Putin, adding that Putin wanted to be helpful on Iran. He said he told Putin he could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. Oil prices have plummeted 7% after soaring to a more than 3-year high in the previous session, as US President Donald Trump predicted the war in the Middle East could end soon, easing concerns about prolonged disruptions to oil supplies. Brent futures fell $6.79, or 6.9%, to $92.17 a barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate crude was down $6.55, or 6.9%, to $88.22 a barrel. Both contracts fell as much as 11% earlier before pairing some losses. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said that they will not allow 1 litre of oil to be shipped from the Middle East if US and Israeli attacks continue. The group said it would not allow any oil to leave the region if attacks from the United States and Israel continue. Trump warned that US attacks could rise sharply if Iran sought to block tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. A spokesperson said they are the ones who will determine the end of the war, describing Trump's comments as nonsense. In response, US President Donald Trump has warned that the United States would respond with 20 times more severe force if Iran attempts to block the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. Trump said that in such a scenario, the US would target Iran so decisively that the country would be unable to recover. He said there would be death, fire, and wrath across Iran, adding that he prayed it did not come to that. The president described the strait as a lifeline for countries like China and others, calling any obstruction a gift to global shipping if used responsibly. Negotiations aimed at advancing US President Donald Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza Strip have been paused since last week after the United States and Israel launched joint strikes on Iran, triggering a wider conflict in the Middle East. The halt in talks threatens to delay implementation of Trump's key Middle East peace initiative. One source involved in the work of Trump's Board of Peace initiative described the delay as temporary and relatively minor, caused mainly by flight disruptions that prevented mediators and representatives from travelling across the region. Many of the negotiations have traditionally taken place in Cairo. The World Health Organization has warned that the so-called black rain falling in parts of Iran after strikes on oil facilities could pose serious health risks. Officials say the oil-laden rain and acidic particles may cause respiratory problems for residents. Thick smoke filled the skies over Tehran after a refinery was hit during the latest wave of US and Israeli strikes. The WHO says Iran's advice for people to stay indoors is a sensible precaution given the worsening air quality. And a senior United Nations official has warned that Afghanistan's continued isolation from the international system is deepening instability and blocking progress on key issues. Deputy Special Representative Georgette Gagnon told the Security Council that Afghanistan could again drive regional threats, including terrorism, narcotics trafficking, and mass migration. Several countries also condemned Taliban restrictions on women and girls, calling for an end to policies that limit education and employment. Also addressing the Council, Pakistan's UN ambassador Asim Iftikhar Ahmad said Islamabad would not remain idle while facing terrorist attacks from across the Afghan border. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.